Slowly, over the course of many years, the Rebel Alliance grew, gaining more momentum with every passing atrocity committed by the Empire. The construction of the Death Star and annihilation of the planet Alderaan then led to the Rebel victory at the Battle of Yavin, thanks to a fatal flaw built into the superweapon by Galen Erso, lead Imperial scientist on the project and secret Rebel sympathizer. Luke Skywalker and Alliance forces were able to destroy the space station. The next major milestone for the rebellion came at the Battle of Endor, where they destroyed a second Death Star being constructed, resulting in the deaths of both Darth Sidious and Vader, devastating the Imperial government. Unable to rally their forces after such a momentous loss, Admiral Ray Sloan ordered the retreat of their ships to the Anaj system, granting the rebels victory. After the Battle of Endor, the Empire lay in ruins, and so most of the Imperial Navy retreated to the outer rim of the galaxy, allowing for the Rebel Alliance to become the New Republic, rising to take the place of the former government and slowly building a new galactic community reflecting the values of freedom, equality, and democracy. During the period of provisional government, Mon Mothma became Chancellor, with Chandrila serving as their temporary capital, though they eventually chose to rotate that privilege, with the Senate electing a new location for their seat of government every few years. Meanwhile, the remnants of the Empire continued to descend into chaos, with many former officers, admirals, and moffs fighting amongst themselves for leadership. Some even formed their own empires, carving out territories where their rule was absolute. Others used propaganda to convince their populations Palpatine was still alive and the New Republic was on the brink of collapse. With so many Imperial factions fighting for control, Admiral Ray Sloan, acting under the orders of a shadowy figure known as Fleet Admiral Gallius Rax, organized above the planet of Akiva, where the remaining leadership of the Empire might select a new leader and begin to re-establish their power. Yet they were betrayed by Gallius Rax, who alerted the New Republic to the meeting, allowing them to send a fleet and kill or capture those in attendance. Ray Sloan, however, managed to get away and return to her master. Upon the throne world of Coruscant, Grand Vizier Mas Amedda, who served as one of Palpatine's closest advisors, technically inherited leadership of the Empire, becoming a proxy emperor, attempting to reorganize and administer the collapsing government in a galaxy of factional chaos. Yet his impossible task was made even harder when Coruscant itself erupted into rebellion and war, with remaining Imperial forces on the planet barely able to maintain their territories. As a result, Mas Amedda was the head of government in name only, with no real authority outside of Coruscant. His position became such a burden to him that he attempted to surrender to the New Republic, but was rejected by Princess Leia and Mon Mothma, who demanded he return to the Empire and not come back until he had the power to offer terms of unconditional surrender and a treaty that would officially end the war and recognize the New Republic as the legitimate government of the galaxy. Mas Amedda, finding the task impossible, considered killing himself once returned to Coruscant, but instead entered into an alliance with the now Grand Admiral Ray Sloan, who was working to cut the strings held by her puppet master Gallius Rax in order to become the sole leader of the largest Imperial faction remaining. But ultimately, the Empire was not able to recuperate what they lost, eventually defeated in the Battle of Jakku, ending Imperial reign across the galaxy through their formal surrender and signing of the Galactic Concordance. With the New Republic victorious, the many fleets and armies of the old Empire fled into the unknown regions, slowly rebuilding their forces to one day return and reclaim the galaxy. However, the New Republic proved ignorant of this remaining threat, and so began the difficult process of re-establishing peace and prosperity across the many worlds pledging themselves to the government. Yet the reach and resources of the New Republic were nowhere near that of the Empire or former Republic, and so many worlds, especially those in the Outer Rim, were neglected, becoming centers of piracy and organized crime, with many cartels like the Hutts re-emerging to prominence and power. Meanwhile, Chancellor Mon Mothma, who was holding together the New Republic through her charisma and the respect she commanded as a leader of the rebellion, pushed through the Military Disarmament Act, drastically reducing the size of the Republic Army and Navy. Although Leia Organa greatly disagreed with this move, Chancellor Mothma feared what a grand army might do in the future, instead focusing their resources on empowering individual member worlds to raise their own planetary defenses and rebuilding trade networks. In addition, Mon Mothma voluntarily momentarily abolished many of the emergency powers Palpatine had gathered for himself, and after several years stepped down from the position, passing gracefully into retirement. However, with no one else similarly able to unify the government, future chancellors proved unsuccessful, and the Senate soon became mired in political gridlock between the centrist faction, which wanted more centralized authority under a single powerful leader, and the populist faction, who wanted more autonomy for member worlds and the decentralization of power. A special thanks to all those who contribute to Civilization X, like Skipalux the Unbroken, the Smiling Cow, and Maester Hades of Skagos. If you would like to help Civilization X, click on the Patreon link, and please be sure to like and subscribe, and click on the links to see more.